watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, Saudi Arabia bombs Yemen hours after declaring campaign's end. And UN officials say rich countries should take refugees to end deaths. In the sea. And French authorities arrest man accused of plotting church attacks. And Senate reaches deal on trafficking bill, schedules vote on lynch. The Attorney General. And Obama says Elizabeth Warren is wrong on TPP, and Detroit cop who killed 7-year-old girl returns to duty. And Rising Tide NYC holds 3 days of action against climate change, and NOAA last month was the hottest March ever recorded, they say. And Aflac apologizes for a bid to conceal slave-owning ancestor, and couple injured in marathon bombing oppose death penalty for star name. And educators oppose suspension of New Jersey teacher whose student wrote to Umaya Abu Jamal, the cop killer. GVTV News is broadcast from the Grass Valley Television Division of Rural Counties Television Network, which focuses on community involvement. We also air on NCTV, but before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, Saudi Arabia has resumed airstrikes against Shiite Houthi rebels, Islamic Muslim terrorists, in Yemen. Hours after announcing an end to its nearly month-long bombing campaign, the Saudi Defense Ministry says it would conclude the airstrikes and shift to a new strategy focused on political solution, but after rebels gained ground in its central city of Taiz, the strikes resumed. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, 2 airstrikes killed at least 40 people, most of them civilians. On Monday, the Committee to Protect Journalists reported TV journalists and 3 staff members of the TV station Yemen Today were killed in airstrikes in the capital of Sana'a. United Nations officials called for wealthy countries to collectively accept 1 million Syrian refugees over the next 5 years in order to curtail the migrant crisis in the Mediterranean. UN Special Rapporteur of the Human Rights and Migrants, Frankios Crepe, told The Guardian the plan could also extend to Eritreans and other refugees who are fleeing from war. Over 1,750 migrants have died this year in the Mediterranean trying to reach Europe, 30 times higher than the same period last year. Libya says it detained 600 migrants in the past few days after stopping boats poised to deport for Italy. And French authorities say they have arrested a man suspected of planning an imminent attack on Paris churches. Officials say the man is Algerian national who expressed a desire to travel to Syria. He also is suspected of murdering a woman before being detained Sunday when he allegedly shot himself by accident and called an ambulance. Authorities say they found a trove of weapons and notes about the planned attack in his car. In the United States, Senate lawmakers have reached a deal on anti-abortion provisions tucked into the human trafficking bill, paving the way for Thursday's vote on a stalled confirmation of the Attorney General's nominee, Loretta Lynch. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had refused to proceed with the confirmation of Lynch until that was taken care of, until the Senate passed the trafficking bill. But Democrats objected to the provision that said they would expanded a ban on federal funding for abortion by applying it to victims' funds created by criminal fines. Compromise separates the victims' fund into 2 streams, criminal fines and those won't be used for health care, and health-related money subjected to the existing ban on federal abortion funding. And President Obama has criticized fellow Democrats who opposed the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal, the TPP. The 12-nation pact would encompass 40% of the global economy and is being negotiated in secret, of course. In an interview with MSNBC, whoever that is, Obama responded to criticism from Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, who says the TPP would undermine U.S. sovereignty and help the rich get richer. And he said, "I love Elizabeth. We're allies in a whole host of issues, but she's wrong on this. Everything I do has been focused on how we do to make sure the middle class is getting a fair deal. Now, I would not be doing this trade deal if I did not think it was good for the middle class." When you hear folks make a lot of suggestions about how bad this trade deal is, then you dig into facts, they're wrong. End quote. Senate is expected to vote on a bill that would grant Obama's so-called fast-track authority to negotiate TPP, then present it to Congress for a yes or no vote with no amendments allowed. The measurement would receive a growing chorus of protests, including Democrats from Senate Minority Leader, got that? Harry Reid, said his stance on fast track is hell no. Well, he doesn't have any power anymore, I guess. It won't matter. Analysts with the Cato Institute, Public Citizen, usually stand on opposing sides of trade policy issues, but we find common ground in opposing the system of special privileges for foreign films, they wrote. In Detroit, Michigan, the police officer who shot a 7-year-old Ayanna Stanley Jones in her home during a night raid being filmed by a reality TV show had been reinstated for active duty. Joseph Weekly fatally shot her while she slept on a couch with a grandmother in 2010. 2 attempts to prosecute him resulted in hung juries. Detroit Police Chief James Craig told Detroit News Weekly will operate in a limited duty and won't work in the field. Terrible tragedy. Activists rallied in office in New York Governor Andrew Cuomo Tuesday to call for him to reject a proposal deepwater port which would be used to import natural gas. Patrick Robbins, of Sane Energy Project, said Cuomo should reject the renewable energy option. He said, "We're here today to tell Governor Cuomo to veto Port Ambrose to liquefy whatever, blah, blah, blah. We know that we can build offshore wind in the same area." Oh, offshore wind, that'll help. "We want clean energy, renewable jobs. We're asking Governor Cuomo to stand with the people and not the private equity and big banks. They want Port Ambrose to be built." Protest marks the second in 3 days of actions of climate change by Rising Tide NYC. On Monday, the group marked the 5th anniversary of the BP oil disaster. Explosion of Deepwater Horizon rig on April 20th, 2010 killed 11 workers and sparked a lot of problems. And one person said, standing in solidarity with Gulf South communities that are asking BP to stop lying, pay what they owe, and fossil fuels must go. Still talking about that. Disasters like the BP oil spill that happened 5 years ago are not one-off things. It's going to happen again. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We can no longer have our communities be sacrifice zones. There are alternatives. Yep, there is alternatives. Last month was the hottest March in record worldwide so far. According to National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, the first quarter of the year was the hottest start of any year in the record, beating the previous record set in 2002. Arctic sea ice, meanwhile, hit its smallest extent for the month since record-keeping began 35 years ago. So it must be global warming. Yeah. Actor Ben Affleck kind of backfired on him, has apologized after a hacked Sony emails published by WikiLeaks showed he asked for the revelation that he had slave-owning ancestors be omitted from the PBS documentary Finding Your Roots. In a post in social media, Affleck said he regretted the request but had been embarrassed by his links to a slave owner. The sentencing phase of the trial of convicted Boston Marathon bomber Dr. Dakhar Svarnev has opened in Boston, with the jury to decide whether Svarnev should get the death penalty or life in prison. In a statement, Jessica Kensky and Patricia Downs wrote, "The defendant's objectives on April 15, 2013, and our objectives in deciding his punishment should not be one and the same. We must overcome the impulse for vengeance. The parents of 8-year-old Martin Richard, who were killed in the attack, have also opposed the death penalty for Svarnev." So we'll find out. Few students and educators and scholars from across the country have sent a letter to city authorities in Orange, New Jersey, urging them to reinstate a teacher suspended for brainwashing her 3rd grade students to write get well card a get well card to Black Panther Mumia Abu Jamal, the cop killer. He was convicted of killing a Philadelphia police officer, but Amnesty International has found he was deprived of a fair trial. Speaking before a school board last week, her suspension, Marilyn Zuniga, should never have talked about this murder to her students. She said, on February 5th, I presented a do now that stated what is the main idea of this quote, so long as one just person is silenced, there is no justice. This quote was by this guy, the cop killer. I mentioned to my students that Mumia was very ill, and they told me they would like to write get well letters to him. That's it for World News Today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and pictures in the blotter are not from these actual events but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County law enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Monday, 9:50 a.m., a caller from 200 block of South Church Street requested extra patrols due to vandalism. 10:14 a.m., caller from a business 500 block of East Main Street reported a customer provided fraudulent information and would not return a vehicle. 11:28 a.m., a man reported identity theft with his social security number being compromised. 12:12 p.m., a caller from 1200 block of East Main Street reported a juvenile had run away and was threatening to jump in front of a vehicle, then threw an alcoholic drink. And 12:49 p.m., a caller from 100 block of West Empire Street reported a hit-and-run accident. At 12:50 p.m., a caller from business 1900 block of Nevada City Highway reported a counterfeit $100 bill. And 2:02 p.m., a caller from 200 block of West Main Street reported two teens had been seen in the parking lot. Before the caller found several vehicles that had been opened. Nothing appeared to have been taken. At 3:25 p.m., a caller from South Auburn Street and East McKnight Way reported an erratic driver hanging out of a window and swerving in the road. 3:41 p.m., a caller from 700 block of West Main Street reported vandalism. A juvenile was cited. At 5:20 p.m., a caller from Highway 49 and Brunswick Road reported graffiti on a retaining wall. And 5:23 p.m., a caller from Glenwood Road and Nevada City Highway reported a transient camp. A person was moving on. 7:05 p.m., a caller from 300 block of Mill Street reported hearing a very loud explosion. Nothing suspicious was located. At 9:49 p.m., a caller from 600 block of Idaho, Maryland Road reported a possible prowler. Man was arrested on suspicion of trespassing and an outstanding warrant. 11:27 p.m., a caller from Harris and Eureka Streets reported a woman screaming for help. She was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. And Tuesday, 2:56 a.m., a caller from 600 block of Freeman Lane reported a burglary. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Monday, 8:36 a.m. A caller from 1200 block of Loma Rica Drive reported gas had been siphoned from a work truck. 8:39 a.m. a woman from McCourtney Road reported a vehicle burglary with a purse and a wallet taken. At 9:53 a.m. a caller from 13,000 block of Red Tail Hawk Road reported a physical fight with a person sustaining a head injury after being hit with an axe handle. A report was taken. 10:23 a.m. a caller from 12,000 block of Shady Creek Drive reported identity theft, and 10:41 a.m. a caller from 10,000 block of Cabot Lane reported mail theft. 11:03 a.m. a caller from Ready Springs School reported something clawing and scratching underneath a building. At 11:16 a.m. a caller reported receiving fraudulent insurance documents. At 12:19 p.m. a caller from 12,000 block of Pascali Road reported locks had been cut from a gate and a trailer in an attempted burglary. At 1:24 p.m. a caller from 12,000 block of Rough and Ready Road reported identity theft. 1:37 p.m. a caller from 10,000 block of Bloomfield and Graniteville Road reported a theft from a mailbox. Pretty busy today. 2:01 p.m. a caller from 18,000 block of Hunt Creek Road reported a person violating a restraining order by using a vehicle mirror to run into a victim's vehicle mirror. And 2:13 p.m. caller from business 10,000 block of Comby Road reported a man touching his genitalia in public. 3:06 p.m. a caller from 17,000 block of Wolf Mountain Road reported people shooting from a tower area. It was quiet when a deputy arrived. And 3:28 p.m. a caller from Hoot Owl Road reported a fire. 3:33 p.m. a caller from LaBar Meadows and Dog Bar Roads reported a tanker truck possibly stealing water from a fire hydrant. And 3:46 p.m. a caller from 15,000 block of Lake Vera Purdon Road reported someone stolen an alarm. 4:40 p.m. a caller from Highway 20 and Conservation Road reported two vehicles racing each other and cutting off other vehicles. And 4:46 p.m. a caller from 10,000 block of Willow Valley Road reported the theft of mail with a credit card taken. He finally got lucky. 5:27 p.m. a caller from Auburn and Kiwi Roads reported a sports bike driving at high rate of speed. 7:10 p.m. Oh, there he goes. I hear him. 7:10 p.m. caller from 16,000 block of Dugan Road reported a neighbor target practicing and shooting towards the caller's house. 9:04 p.m. a caller from 31,000 block of Relief Hill Road reported shooting a bear and was referred to Fish and Wildlife. Nevada City Police Department on Monday, 2:24 p.m. a caller from Broad and Sacramento Street reported numerous people drinking alcohol and being rowdy. At 6:21 p.m. a caller from 300 block of Monroe Street reported a transient camp. A 6:50 a.m. Tuesday, caller reported transient sleeping in the backyard who was arrested on fugitive from justice warrant. 11:27 p.m. a caller from 300 block of Long Street reported loud bongos. Or was it congos? That's it for the blotter today. Now thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's local news headlines, Florida fugitive arrested in Grass Valley, and 3 arrested in Nevada City motel. Grass Valley police officers spotted a man wanted on a fugitive from justice warrant out of Florida and assisted the U.S. Marshal Office in making an arrest Tuesday afternoon. Officers had been made aware that the marshals were looking for a fugitive identified as Cody Lee Matson, 25 years old, and that he could be in the area, said Grass Valley Police Lieutenant Alex Gammelgard. Matson's vehicle was spotted leaving Hughes Road and Cypress Hill Drive. Officers alerted the marshals and followed the vehicle to East Main and Stewart Streets. Matson, wanted on a warrant for sex offenses involving a minor, was stopped and arrested without incident, Gammelgard added. A man was arrested in February on suspicion of mail theft in Grass Valley, was arrested again on similar charges in Nevada City Tuesday. A woman reported Tuesday afternoon in Nevada City police officers that a person had made fraudulent charges using a credit card in her name, said Officer Scott Goyne. Her bank alerted her about a number of charges that had been made in the county, with the last one being made Tuesday morning, Nevada City SPD grocery store. Officers reviewed surveillance footage from the market and saw a man identified as Robert William Ball reportedly buying items with the stolen credit card. He had purchased barbecue items, steaks, chips, soda, and briquettes. Goyne said Ball reportedly had been seen by officers at Nevada City Inn on Zion Street earlier that day. He was subsequently contacted at the motel and reportedly had a small quantity of meth on his person, as well as a stolen credit card. Officers also reportedly located numerous pieces of suspected stolen mail in Ball's motel room, including some in the victim's name. It appears the credit card was in the mail that had been stolen, Goyne added. A woman identified as Shauna Michelle Hines, 31, reportedly was hiding in the bathroom and was found with a hypodermic needles. She was booked into county jail on suspicion of possessing drug paraphernalia and violating probation, as well as 4 outstanding misdemeanor warrants. A second woman, Brittany Alexandria Stewart, 24, was located in the parking lot and appeared to be under the influence. She was subsequently evaluated and arrested on suspicion of being under the influence of a controlled substance and possessing drug paraphernalia, after reportedly being found with a meth pipe. She was booked and released on a $3,500 bail. Ball was booked into county jail on suspicion of burglary, possessing stolen property, forgery, theft using a credit card, possession of a controlled substance, and was released on a $9,500 bail. Ball had been arrested 2 months ago after reportedly acting suspiciously in a laundromat bathroom. Grass Valley police officers responded to 600 block of Freeman Lane after a caller reported 3 men smoking possible drugs in the bathroom of the business. Officers learned there was a man still in the bathroom, and he eventually came out after they repeatedly knocked, but reportedly tried to flush some drug paraphernalia down the sink and the toilet. The man, identified as Ball, reportedly also tried to flush several checks. He reportedly was subsequently linked to several mail thefts in Nevada City and had some stolen items in his possession. In that case, he was charged with forgery, possessing stolen property, and drug paraphernalia, and destroying evidence. He was set for arraignment March, but failed to appear. New arraignment date had been set for April 28th. Ball had a prior conviction, 2 felonies reduced to misdemeanors pursuant to Prop 47 in December. He'd been arrested in December 2013 and pleaded no contest to burglary and forgery. He was sentenced to April 2014 to 2 years and 8 months on a split sentence, 1 year in a county jail and post-release community supervision. October 2014, he was arrested on resisting charge. His supervision was revoked. He was sentenced to 120 days in jail. In December, he petitioned for resentencing on the felony case, and that was granted. He was resentenced to 2 years court probation, 1 year in jail with time served. And that's it for today. See you Monday. Have a good weekend. Grass Valley Television brings you local and world news, and we broadcast our 30-minute show 6 times a day on NCTV, Public Access, Comcast Cable, Channel 11 and 18. Also, we're on Sudden Link, Channel 16 and 18. We have 3 amazing series: Music, a 30-minute weekly show that airs 4 times a week, and Pride, Integrity, Guts, and Service, hosted by Sheriff Keith Royal and me on a bi-monthly series, plays 4 times a week. We're your community media, and if you have a business and would like to underwrite our shows, we offer almost 200 30-second spots a month on Comcast and Sudden Link. We also stream live on NevadaCountyTV.org and video on demand there, and our own websites, GVTV.org and GrassValleyTelevision.com. We also post to several Facebook pages and YouTube, Vimeo, Blip.tv, and many other sites